By the way, we're all live.
These are leftover cookies and churros from the meeting that they had earlier today. So you're more than welcome to have these. I brought napkins so you won't have sugary fingers. Thank you. Thanks, Ryan.
We should all take one for the team right now. Sean,
One, two, three, four, five.
So I'm gonna pick down this.
13, 14, 15, 16. We have quorum.
wait,
We're gonna start.
Yeah, I don't like angle off kind of.
We have a long agenda ahead, so I'm going to go ahead and start.
are we?
We have quorum. I'm actually making a roll call.
Sure.
For anything else? Why would we leave? That is not a good idea. Yeah, I don't know. That just seems like a bad decision.
Thank you, Liam, for earlier today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, can you do roll call? It's called to order. John, table of attendance.
Approval of the agenda.
Yeah.
What time did you call for?
5.
Don't blame me for
That's why. It's me, you, and Liam. It's Tuesday. I thought this was.
I'll check with you. Right now,
I guess we're not showing up.
Senator Lopez Polito.
present.
Senator Cervantes. Present. Senator Chua. So they changed my, I can only view it, I can't edit it. That's why I said. Someone changed the document, it only gave me view.
Are you, which one are you signing to?
Send a record.
Okay, just do it. See right now.
Senator Lee. Senator Sadiq. Senator Abdul Sadiq.
Here, Senator Quintas.
Here. Senator Nelson. Senator Damavandi. Senator Yan.
Here.
Senator Lim.
Here.
Senator Liu. Here. Senator Ahmed. Senator Withrow.
Here.
Senator Guneman.
Present.
Senator Saba.
Here.
Senator Kuriakos. Senator Munoz. Senator Math. Senator Artunian. Senator Archbold. Senator Sanhu. Senator Nakvi. Senator Krebs. Senator Gill. Senator Martinez. Senator Key. Senator Fonseca.
Here.
You have quorum at 20.
With that, quorum is at 20. We'll move on to the next item of the agenda, approval of the minutes. If there are no objections, I'd like to approve last meeting's minutes. Hearing and seeing none, the minutes are approved. Moving on to approval of the agenda. Are there any amendments to the agenda at this time?
I move to strike out item 9.5, election of spring president pro tempore.
Okay, is there a second?
Oh,
It has been moved and seconded. Are there any objections to striking pro tempore elections from the agenda?
can I ask what?
It's not until week 1 of the next quarter. I was mistaken.
Oh, got it, okay.
Yes. Okay, moving on, seeing as how there's no objection, we're gonna strike that from the agenda. I'll go ahead and make that amendment. Moving on to the next item, if there are no objections, I'd like to approve the agenda with amendment. Okay, seeing none, agenda is approved with amendment. Moving on to the next item of the agenda, public comment. Would any member of the public wish to speak right now? Cassius?
I know you have a busy agenda, so I'll make this quick. I just wanted to make a public comment in support of legislation that you'll be considering tonight, R5477, in support of the goals and requests of the Basic Needs Coalition. This is something that Sanjana, Randy, a lot of others within ASUCI have been working on over the past few months. And it's a really solid, comprehensive list of policy goals that we want to see to address basic needs security on campus. So I just wanted to say that if there's any questions about any elements on there, I'm here, happy to answer questions about this, if you have any questions about anything. And then the other quick thing I wanted to update you all about is the Irvine City Council meeting that's happening next Tuesday, March 12th, about the proposed increased enforcement of boarding houses and short-term rentals. There's just some really alarming language in the staff report on the city's website next Tuesday, so I'm planning to be there next Tuesday to speak against the agenda item. So if any of you are interested in going along with me to support students. One of the things the city says on the agenda report is that they're going to hire a contractor to search the internet for listings that violate the new classification of boarding houses, and then that third-party contractor can then help issue citations and increase the enforcement. So I don't think that would be good for students. I think it would potentially affect a lot of people that live in overcrowded apartments. So that's just something to watch out for.
Thank you. Would any other member of the public wish to speak at this time? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to the next item of the agenda, executive officer reports. If there are no objections, I'd like to postpone executive officer reports, special committee reports, and old business until item number 1. And new business is conducted. We do have a guest here, and I wish for them to be able to have the floor for as much time as they need before we move on to regular business. Are there any objections to tabling items number 6, 7, 8 until number 1? Item number 1, new business is done. Seeing none, we will move on to the next item on the agenda. Item number 9, new business. Danny Spitzer, Brent Event Center budget report. Let me go ahead and get that up. And they're the 2 PDFs, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. My name is Danny Spitzer. I'm director of the Brent Event Center. I kind of want to give an outline. I was invited by Randy Yang, who also serves as a member of our Brent Advisory Board, to present to the academic ASUCI Senate meeting today. It's kind of want to give an outline. Brent Event Center is a facility on campus, referendum facility. Facility opened on January 8th, 1987. Facility is approximately 32 plus years old. Currently, we have 9 full-time management staff, including myself. Also, with me is Christina Engel. Let her give a brief introduction of herself.
I'm Christine Engel, I'm the Assistant Director of the Brennan Event Center, in charge of all the financials and budgets for the facility.
Christina is a longtime manager of the facility. She started working as a student in the Brennan Event Center, and she's a UCI alum. As far as our other management team, we have 7 other managers that handle areas of our ticketing, operations, maintenance, and technical and guest services and our scheduling. We also employ annually approximately 125 to 140 student employees here at UCI, so the student employees are a very important part of our operation. We utilize our students for every facet of the operation. We have 6 different divisions that they work in. They work in our guest services in our front office. They do our operations, which is a lot of event setups and event operations. We have our maintenance staff, students that assist with our maintenance needs throughout the year. We have a technical team that assists with all of our audio, lighting, and visual needs. We have a ticket office operations that facilitate all of our ticketing services, both prior to and during our events. And then we also have our ushers and guest services, which provides a lot of event support for our events. They do ticket taking at the doors, they do ushering, they do disability assist, and kind of the common thread for any of our guest employment requirements that operate the facility. The Brennan Event Center to me is a very dynamic operation. I've been in the facility for 19 years. I've served as director of the interim director role for approximately the last 8 years. We host a variety of UCI campus department events. We hosted a lot of UCI registered campus organization events for the 32 years we've been in operation. We host a lot of community events. We work with different partners around different local high schools for graduations, different church groups that do religious-oriented events. We host concerts with major and independent concert promoters. We also host a variety of cultural programs, both at the university as well as outside organizations. And then we've also been fortunate to host a lot of signature campus events. We've hosted His Holiness Dalai Lama 3 different times in my tenure. My understanding is this is one of the only universities that he's been to 3 times for a college university. And we just host a really diverse amount of activity. We'll occasionally host some registered campus organization meetings or receptions. And so to me, the Brennan Event Center is kind of a platform. It's kind of a hub for engagement for the campus community. It's kind of usually typically one of the strategic pillars of our chancellor, kind of that academia, and we kind of also provide that element to facilitate a gathering place for past UCI affiliate students, alumni, as well as current students and faculty and staff, as well as prospective students in the campus community. As far as hosting our intercollegiate athletic activity, we report to the athletic department. So it's important that we work with a lot of our campus partners. That includes registered campus organizations, student clubs. We work with a lot of academic units. We work with a lot of our fire safety and police department affiliates. They're in communications in the mix with everything we do as far as our event planning. To me, we need to provide a safe environment for any of our individual staff that work in our facility, as well as any of the guest students that will come and either use the facility or come as guests. As far as the facility, we are a full-fledged event center. So we take the approach of providing that safe environment, providing equipment that's adequate for all of our users, whether you're a campus organization, campus department, or an external client. With the facility, kind of overseeing the entire operation and the management staff, there's a lot of time and effort that goes into maintaining our facility. As a facility ages, typically your maintenance costs are going to increase as the age of the facility increases. But that said, we try to do preventative maintenance, so we try to stay on top of all of our facility systems. We try to project a lot of our costs, forecast what's needed to maintain the operation. So we do a pretty good job of that. The reality is that you kind of consider yourself and your body. There's a lot of things that we can see on the outside that we kind of have a good sense of. But if we're not feeling well, there's kind of internal things that may not be going on. So sometimes there's nuts and bolts of our facility systems that we need our facilities management support on campus to try to get our central plant facility staff or plumbers, electricians, or shop trades to kind of diagnose certain problems that we can identify there's a problem, but we don't really know what it is. So we rely heavily on our facility management and our project management teams with facilities on campus. They support pretty much every entity and facility on campus. So we try to do a good job of identifying those maintenance type items. Typically, we'll communicate those items to our brand advisory board, which the members in this Senate meeting are part of that board. And so, as the facility is again 32 years old, a lot of our facility systems typically are 10-year, 20-year, 15-year, 25-year lifespans. Some of the major maintenance projects that we've recently done, we overhauled our fire alarm project essentially 2 years ago. It was activated about 1 year ago. That was an important life safety project. As I stated, all the events we host and the dynamic that we fulfill for the campus, having an adequate fire alarm system in case of any type of emergency. In today's day, you never kind of know what happens. You guys watch the news and see what happens. So, fire alarm project was a large project that we implemented last year. It's something we spec'd out probably about 10 or 11 years ago. We're trying to source funding and finding the right time to implement that. We work closely with project management, fire marshal on campus to implement those type of projects. We have a few other large maintenance projects that we've outlined. Our next larger project is our HVAC control system. Obviously, our facility is a very large, 90,000 square foot facility, and so we have a very robust HVAC system to kind of operate, maintain the facility temperature and that. So that's also essentially considered a life safety element. The next project that we're looking to do is to upgrade that control system. Typically, right now, in our last assessment, about a year and a half of project management, that was listed as approximately $1.5 million project. We have 3 components of our elevator system that needs to be overhauled. Typically, a rating for an elevator system is about a 25-year lifespan. Again, ours is 32 years old. Haven't had any major issues. We have had a couple incidents where facilities management have had to come out. They're highly recommending that we overhaul those components. 3 of those are our control system for the elevator, the shaft replacement, shaft essentially would raise it up and down, and then also kind of a motor replacement. We also have some domestic hot water heat exchangers. Those help regulate temperature in our facility. We've had some recent correspondence with our central plant that one of them is down, and most of our facility systems, we either have a backup or an alternate system to operate. So currently one of those is down, but being the aging facility, our central plant affiliates with facilities are recommending that we switch that one out immediately and then overhaul the other one. If we were to do both of them, typically there's a cost savings. So this is where we do assessments on whether we would try to implement one of the replacements or look at is it better at a 32-year span of the facility do you try to retrofit both at the same time. That project carries approximately a $50,000 to $60,000 cost.
Excuse me, Director, with your permission, is it okay if I forward the email with the attachments or to all the senators so that they can view it on their screen?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
As far as annual telescopic seating maintenance, our facility has 2 seating type systems. One is called fixed seating. Those are essentially fixed, bolted into our concrete upper levels. And then the telescopic seating are retractable. So they retract open or they retract closed. Annually, just with the movement of those, we have one of the largest systems that the manufacturer has ever built in an arena. One of the larger sections seats 1,084 seats. It opens and closes as one unit. So typically we have annual maintenance, typically about $30,000 annual cost. Those are service maintenance costs as well as replacement parts. Those type of parts, they're not attainable like Home Depot. So these are things that you have to typically work with the manufacturer of those seating systems. There is a subcontractor that is assigned by that manufacturer to do the maintenance. So they're essentially on standby anytime we have any issues with it. And then if we have any part replacements, typically those are like 1 to 3 month lead times from ordering parts so they can manufacture them and ship and replace those. We also have fire marshal protocols to do 5-year certifications for our fire sprinkler system in case there is an emergency and a fire. Theoretically, our fire sprinkler system should activate to help diminish or put out a facility fire. There's different codes and certifications that are required to check those every 5 years, and also annual inspections. We've also probably been about 15 years since we've done the exterior painting. Typically, redo exterior painting anywhere from a 10 to 12 year span. Again, we try to maintain our facilities, but I keep it, but we're probably getting close to assessing it to do another renovation for the exterior painting. Anytime anything on campus like that happens, we have to work with design construction as they kind of have the master plan to make sure that all facilities on campus kind of meet the master plan as well as are into the color code and into all the policies of maintaining our facilities. We have restroom partitions. Several years ago, we retrofitted our men's restrooms because there was a specific need to do that. Our women's restrooms lasted a little longer of the original stalls, but again, at a 32-year period, we're starting to just get a little fatigued of just how the mounting units are, either mounting to the walls, ceilings, or kind of the cross-bracing structures. So we're looking at doing a renovation of our women's restroom partitions. That probably has approximately $50,000 value. And then as far as the exterior of the facility, we're getting just a lot of natural shifting with the ground outside. And so we have done an assessment of doing a full renovation as well as upgrading of the plaza outside. That's kind of an area that, from our perspective, includes a lot of campus pathways, fire lanes. So how we would approach that project would be a lot of communication with our design and construction, our campus facilities, on who would be responsible for like what portion of those areas. But just getting a contractor to kind of do an assessment, that was about $4.5 million to do all of the concrete, again, we're doing the fire lanes that have to have certain thicknesses of concrete leading up to fire hydrants and such. And that would also include the ticket terrace area, which is the tree area. Right, if I'm most actually familiar with the Anthony statue down in the Mesa West Public System. We also have a lot of other facility systems, our stackable chairs. They're great. We use them annually for a lot of our events and use at commencements. But we're at a period where those were existing from when the facility opened, and the parts that we need to maintain, there's clips to connect them together. There's stacking blocks to stack them, so our operations crew can move them in and out in stacks. There's no manufacturer that make any of those parts anymore. So we're getting to a point where it's hard to maintain those type of items. So if we were gonna completely switch out our seats, we have 1,000 plus or minus for our arena floor, and we have about 200 for our meeting rooms. We're looking at an approximate $100,000 cost for chairs. There's also campus procurement requirements on certain vendors that have to be used for the university to acquire these type of equipment. Although our event staff don't do any of the rigging, we do have professional riggers that do any of the high-level rigging for any of our concert or production shows. The facility was never equipped with what's called a fall protection system, but just out of safety for any staff or vendors that would do that type of work, we spec'd out a fall protection system. There's a lot of varieties of how you can implement that. You can implement temporary type systems, or you could also implement a full steel wired system, but those could range anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000 if we went to a robust system. Storage, the facility, we host a lot of activity in our facility. We've acquired a lot more equipment. A lot of the equipment that we've acquired is to help all of our clients. We've acquired a lot of different table sizes to accommodate our registered campus organization and cultural events. We have different cocktail tables to provide for our food and beverage areas during events. So over the years in my tenure, we have probably tripled the amount of equipment that we have in the facility. That's good on one end because it makes a lot of functionality for the clients that use our facility, but storage is now a challenge. And so we do have a large storage bay that has essentially all of our core equipment, 6 baskets, 84 stage units. It has 1,000 chairs, it has a lot of reading equipment, it has LED ad tables that are used for athletic events, and we're basically outgrown kind of the storage areas that we have in the facility. So if we were to implement some type of secondary storage level, it does have a high ceiling. By fire code, we'd have to implement sprinklers under the decking, we'd need an elevator, hoist system. We'd have to provide safety elements that our crew could operate equipment and move stuff from an upper level to lower level. So these are all things, again, that some of these things are kind of wish list, maybe lower priority, but they could help out functionally for what we do and how we operate. We've also looked into an LED marquee replacement. We have the LED marquee outside our facility. That is important because it showcases the events we host. We do promote the student events, campus organization events, PCI commencement. We also assist the arts with promoting their events, try to assist in that campus engagement for the community. And so anything, you guys have probably grown up in the technology age. A lot of technology changes quick. So our marquee is probably over 10 years old. And so there's a lot newer options that could provide a lot better content that you could display and support, promote, and advertise for our events if we would upgrade that. We have formal quotes for marquees, again, a lot of different options and styles. If we were to overhaul our current marquee, we have quotes for different varieties of marquees ranging in cost of $68,000 to $140,000. Our locker rooms, they're adequate for what our events are, but there are some identifiable areas that we outlined that we could change. Locker room updates would entail different plumbing changes, kind of expanding the use areas that all of our clients would use. They all have access to those rooms. And so that's kind of just an overview of the facility and some of the kind of the major maintenance items we're looking at. Randy asked us to kind of present on our 2017, 2018 end of year budget, so you guys have that, and we also have our end of quarter for 2018-19 that ended in December. So you guys have that available. We kind of outline our budget for you. As far as the operating budget, a lot of our operating fees cover the full-time operations salaries that we have, also our student employment. We also get student fee revenue annually for our event center to help operate. That was based on the referendum a long time before probably all of us were involved on campus. That revenue is important to operate and host the type of events we do. I've often mentioned to our advisory board every year, because we have some new members on it. I've dealt with a lot of students over the years. I enjoy what I do. There's never a day that I wake up and say, oh, I gotta work. So there's a lot of challenges. We hustle at what we do, we provide a good network. And I'm fortunate to work with a variety of campus partners and students. It's an opportunity for us to kind of cultivate those relationships and create student experiences beyond the academic sector. With that said, it's kind of an important operation, and we provide kind of that customer service and kind of that career development for a lot of the students that operate our facility. As we approach our budget, we have a lot of events that we've hosted annually. We have a pretty good projection, but we get a lot of calls and inquiries to try to host different events. So sometimes it's a challenge on the schedule to try to fit everything in, but we make a point to foster the student organizations and events we've hosted. The Greek Song Fest was a long-running event on campus, 40 years. This year they decided not to use the Bren, first time in their 40 years. Calvine PACN is a about 40-year running event, and they've utilized the Bren all the years it's been open. So we try to make a point to help our student groups on campus with different needs. We host different receptions for some groups. We have a couple of our dance groups that have reached out to utilize our facility. We know that there's kind of a premium of space. Parking structures can't be used by certain parking protocol. Student center is very impacted with the number of registered campus organization now, which is significantly different than 10 years ago, and that's probably going to keep growing with the campus growth. So we're always looking for ways to try to support the campus. Registered campus organizations as best we can.
With that, we have a minute left.
Since it says here in your budget report that the revenue you receive is more than projected, and at the same time the expenditure is less than the projected, where does the excess money go at the end of the year?
Yeah, as far as revenue is always, essentially maintaining our operation. And so of the facility fees that come in, those are targeted to cover the operations of our facilities. So that covers the administrative staffing. It covers the major maintenance on the facility. And so if we look at any of the revenues coming in, obviously projected revenue, we're going to be based on some previous history events. Every year is a little different. But all that money shifts, and even this year, after the bond debt retired last year, the facility, budget office directed that, we have a new account. Christina can explain, that we now have a student center fees, fund account, so that way we can track and allocate the fee fund allocation for strategic areas for ticket office operations, kind of the cleaning, ground, all the core elements of the facility.
If there are no objections, I'd like to extend time by 5 minutes so you all of you can ask questions. If there are no objections, okay, time is extended by 5 minutes. So please direct your question.
I have a couple questions, and I believe these will be for the financial director. How do you determine, because I don't know this, how do you determine what the amount will be for the student fee?
That was determined years ago by the budget office. Students paid $23 per quarter toward the operating fee of the Brandon Center.
And that'll be,
Determined by the referendum.
and does that sunset at some point, or is that just the concrete amount until the end?
Complicated now.
Okay, then, what's the lifespan then for the building projected?
Yeah, that's probably a discussion within our campus budget office. Again, my tenure of 32 years, been here 19 years. There's not been a lot of concrete discussion on the lifespan of the facility. I think obviously when the referendum was built and the campus was built, obviously you're gonna hope for growth, but you're not gonna know at what rate that growth is gonna happen. What I've seen in my tenure is a trend of the campus growth is growing quicker now in the last 5 years than it did in the previous 14 years in the campus here. But that's, a good question. I think the way our focus on our operation is we maintain our systems. Again, as I highlighted kind of what we do and what we host. About 2 years ago, the stage decks that we have are the existing stage decks from the facility, but we re-skinned them, so we put new tops on them. So they lasted about 30 years. That's good longevity. So we re-skinned them by the manufactured property, so those should last another 20 plus years. So we try to approach everything in our facility as maintaining the facility as best we can. Again, right now, some of the items on our major maintenance list that I've highlighted, some of those would be to overhaul our core systems that would allow us to keep operating another 20 plus years.
Okay, so do any other questions?
I forgot.
So I noticed in the 2017-2018 report, it highlights debt repayments. So are these in regards to bonds, or are these from other sources?
The bond.
Do we have access to the ballot language from the referendum?
Yeah, it's attainable. Probably something, and I have a lot of the old Brand Advisory Board documents from prior to my time in the facility and prior before I was managing that. So I could probably retrieve that and send it.
And the second thing is, if we're building up reserves so much, is there ever a time we're gonna try to subsidize the referendum fee for students, at least for a year, maybe a buyout?
Yeah, that's not been a discussion. Just our communications with the budget office is that the, as in the initial referendum, is to sustain the operating cost and all the major maintenance that would be needed to continue to operate the facility.
Rodrigo?
How many years are left on the bond?
The bond has.
The bond that retired last year.
Are there any more questions?
For the 2018-2019 report, for crowd control, it says that you cut down from 95,000 to 69,000. Is that due to, or does that have an effect from October, or do you know what the reason?
The first column, the 95,000 was projected, and expenses are coming in lower. There were a couple events that canceled, so that is driving why the revenue is lower.
We had two significant events. One was Casting Crowns concert. We banned artists, one of the lead artists got sick, so they canceled literally a couple weeks before the show. So that revenue would have changed that. We also had an annual Ross Garza kind of Indian folk dance event that we typically do. We work with promoters by 10 or 12 years. He was not able to secure an artist, so he canceled his October event. So we had a few events that canceled that we typically anticipated or had booked. So that's part of
Okay, so we have, 35 seconds left, so, and for their time, I'm only allow one more question. Is anyone else would like to ask a question? Rodrigo's gone. No? Okay, Rodrigo, you'll be the last question.
Based on your budget forecast, has there been a discussion about at which point your operating costs will exceed the student fee allocated from the referendum?
Yeah, I think in general, Alan, good question. We've assessed if we were going to target all of our maintenance items and large projects, then we would dissolve that revenue, almost right away within a few years, depending on all these major projects. We worked closely with the budget office, the fire alarm project. I think it was initially, pre-project was scoped out about $700,000. Again, that started about 2 years ago. It was active last year in January 2018. The actual cost of that project was close to $768,000. So we worked with the budget office to do a 5-year payment plan. So essentially, we're splitting out that cost in 5 years so that we're still able to maintain and handle some other projects that are also critical to the operation.
With that, thank you for coming to the Senate. If you have anything else to say to the Senate, that's up to you, but you're, I don't know. I think you said there, Yan, for inviting. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we will move on to normal business. I will take off the table executive officer reports. At this time, are there any executive officer reports? Daniel?
So like I mentioned previously, during my budget reports, the UCI Police Department, in conjunction with my office, they will be distributing free Dunkin' Donuts, coffee, and donuts to UCI students on Friday, March 8th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. in front of Langston Library. Please share this with your constituents, let them know this is happening. So I'm doing this because I want to enhance the relationship between UCI PD and our students. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. Thank you.
Any further executive officer reports? Seeing hearing none, we'll move on to the next item of the agenda, special committee reports. We have a legislation from the intern SIPS committee. We'll be discussing that today, hopefully just a reading, but we have a lot of other things, so I think for the for the sake of time, we will probably postpone a lot of the items that I have, and then we will move on to everyone else's items. So we're going to move on to the next item, 8, old business, not to be withdrawn, R5466, amendment to the bylaws to clarify boothing. This has already been read, so if there are no objections, I'd like to open this up for discussion. Discussion is now open at this time. Are there any questions, concerns? Mr. Withrow, just for the sake of time, has there been any amendments to legislation in committee?
No, there were no amendments made to this legislation. And I don't have the vote count with me, but I believe it was unanimous minus members of the committee who were absent.
Are there any questions, concerns?
A motion to call R3466 into question by acclamation.
Is there a second? Second. It has been moved and seconded to call R5466 into question by acclamation. Are there any objections? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of passing R5466 amendment to the bylaws to clarify boothing, please raise your hand now. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing and hearing none, R5466 passes. We'll move on to the next item of the agenda. Did I just close the agenda? Yes, I did. Well, it's going to be R5466, amendment to the no.
67.
67, amendment 6 to the bylaws to clarify absences. I'm going to open this up for discussion, and if discussion is not open. Liam, is there any amendments to the legislation?
No amendments were made to this legislation, and the vote count was 5-0-0.
Can someone remind us what the amendments were?
Amendments?
Right, they were amendments?
There was no amendments.
Wait, what?
No,
No,
no, legislation.
Like with the bylaw, with the legislation.
Oh, what the legislation does. And you are talking about to clarify absences? Oh, so this was written, correct me if I'm wrong, the author can answer, but it was in order to clarify that if you are going to have a class, to notify the Senate President in the beginning of the quarter, not later in the quarter. So that way we can't run into the loophole that someone did have a class and then halfway through they could get all those excuses. Yeah.
Not the Senate President, the rules chair.
Sure.
But at the beginning of the year, we're just forming the committees, though.
Beginning of the
School year.
No, quarter, every quarter.
But if it were fall quarter, what would happen?
You would obviously wait for the formation.
Yeah, so committees are formed on the Thursday that the Senate meets their reporters, so they would still have from Tuesday of week 1 to Friday of week 2.
Right?
Also to clarify Michael's concern, since earlier this year, we also passed the rolling over of Senate chairs. So let's say at the beginning of winter or spring quarter, we don't get to elect new chairs for each committee. The old chairs are the current chairs.
Oh, sorry, solid.
Okay, I believe that does not count for spring quarter to fall quarter though.
Yeah, I mean that's for winter and spring.
Yeah. I was talking specifically about fall quarter.
Yeah, I mean Liam already answered for fall quarter, so
Elmo.
Kinda?
I'd like to make an amendment to strike, comma, pro staff, and the last therefore let it be resolved. Determination of what is or is not a class required to graduate is something that I believe has to be made by somebody who is an academic counselor on this campus and who holds that criteria and who holds that position as delegated to by a dean. So, that's my amendment. It's not that I don't believe pro staff are qualified to do such a thing, but I believe that an academic counselor is the only person our own institution deems qualified to do such actions.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to strike comma pro staff from the legislation and the third whereas. Are there any objections? Seeing and hearing none, amendment passes and pro staff shall be stricken. If someone with access can do that for me.
I think the internal website is half down. I can't access the legislation from the internal.
I can access it.
Well, he wrote it down. Right? Yeah, so it'll be in the record. Are there any more concerns, questions?
What does the author mean by the word prove?
I think this is basically reinstating the already set precedent, and as far as I'm aware, it's more of a written confirmation to the rules chair.
Can I follow up?
Yes.
Does that mean that a majority vote of the rules committee has to accept it? Does that just mean that they have to receive it? What does the word prove mean?
I believe it's already in the bylaws what qualifies as proof. A written letter, for example, would be proof. That's actually what happened this quarter with a senator who had who had an absences that would qualify under this policy. Are you referring to section 1? Or
I'm referring to the
section 1 too?
where it says prove to the rules committee, prove to the rules committee. What is the standard of evidence? Does that mean that I come in with a letter from my academic counselor, whoever they may be, and you have to accept it? There's no follow-up with that counselor. There's no nothing. It's just an accepted document, or is there some sort of verification?
Well, it would be assumed that written correspondence from an academic counselor would qualify as proof. There's likely no reason why that counselor would lie about a class requirement that could be verified via looking at the catalog for a school.
General.
Just for clarification, there is no standard of evidence in our ASUCI bylaws. So everyone's clear.
The reason I ask this is that, for example, when you get to clause 3 that says this class is required to graduate on time, I assume, as was discussed in the previous scenario that occurred in the Senate, that the senator had previously failed the class, and this was the last opportunity the senator had to pass the class in order to graduate. That's not something you can verify as a senator, that's something an academic counselor needs to do. So when I ask what is the standard of evidence, does that mean that the counselor will email the rules committee? Does that mean I just bring in a Word document I could have typed up myself and randomly signed? What is the?
So,
We have a formal correspondence actually from the academic advisor, who submitted an actual document.
Okay.
That had the signature of the academic person academic counselor that said, hey, this class needs it. And then it moved. I mean, I'm literally just, that's not verbatim what he said, but that's what was in the letter. Yeah, it was an actual document.
yes, we only accept official documents from the academic counselor. So,
My
a
concern
signed
is,
letter directly from the counselor would be, what we accept as proof. So far, it has only happened once that we've had an absence that qualifies under this policy, so, in that instance, what we received was an official letter from the academic counselor that was signed.
With that, we have 10 seconds left on this item. If there are no objections, I'd like to extend time for 2 minutes. But, there's no objection? Okay, so I'll extend time for 2 minutes. All right. Great.
So, Rodrigo, what would be preferable, but in your opinion, change everything to outside approval or?
it's not that. The concern is that we have a certain standard now because Liam is the rules chair. Liam will not always be the rules chair. So when I see the word prove, that's a different standard for whoever is the rules chair. And because it's no longer the Senate president, there is no mechanism or standard of proof of what that means. It depends on who's in the rules committee. That was my concern.
Senators have a
So this is more like based on, Senator Quintas's like objection, like this is just a random idea that maybe instead it could be like a screenshot of the previous offerings of the class 4.1 and 2. Since they both are directly related with the class in question.
Since I feel like, yes, Senator Quintas's concerns are really valid. I feel like it's best to recommit this to rules so that they could discuss about it further before we bring it back to the floor.
I would concur with that recommendation. I would also recommend, since you are an ex officio as a secretary, if you have further questions to within the rules committee. Are there any motions at this time? Senator Yan.
Motion to commit this legislation to rules.
Are there any objections to recommitting this to rules? Seeing none, legislation is recommitted to rules. We'll move on to the next item of the agenda. R5468, amendments to the bylaws to change Senate restrictions. This has already been read, so discussion is now open. Are there any questions, concerns, Tom? That's for the past item. Just for a refresher, this just makes sure that another senator cannot be a paid member, can hold 2 positions, but they don't accept a stipend at the other position, and they can hold another position except, chief of staffs and judicial board. This clarifies that. Are there any motions or questions on the floor?
Motion.
Hold up. Senator Hartman?
I do have a question. So, if I'm reading this correctly, I guess my question is, are senators and all other offices that are not executive offices paid the same in ASUCI?
No.
No.
Okay, well,
what this does read as would be that, they would only be able to take the stipend of Senate. And if they wanted to choose, another job to get paid for that instead of the Senate job, they would be unwilling to. I'm not sure that's how we would want to proceed with this.
Is there any more questions?
Can I respond to that?
Sure.
So the legislation clarifies that you can take the stipend of one of the two positions you hold. It doesn't tell you to only take the Senate position. So if you have another higher paying position, you're more than welcome to take that one. It leaves kind of the discretion on you.
Michael? But the wording of this specific piece of legislation does not sound that way. It sounds like we can only take the Senate stipend, and if we get a commissioner position, which pays $90 a month, I don't know, which pays higher, whatever, and you have to give up the other one and take the lower senator stipend. It seems though that's the wording of this legislation, maybe you can change that.
Senator Quintas? I have 3 points. First being that grammatically speaking, I agree with Sean. The way this reads means that you cannot accept the other stipend. My second point is, what do we mean by a regular senator? I don't understand why the word regular is there and if it's necessary, because the word regular could be expanded to mean someone who was elected and not those who were appointed. So I think the word regular is vague. And then my third question is to the author. If the purpose of this legislation is a concern that there is not a separation of powers by having senators exist in the Senate and also in another branch, why was the legislation not just to prevent us holding multiple positions and instead just not to be paid for them?
The concern isn't as much separation of powers, it's the fact that already there exist bylaws that prevent senators from taking more than one position. And right now, currently, the Senate is not living up to those bylaws. So it's only to prevent that, it's to prevent us from being open to that criticism that we're not upholding our own rules.
So a point of information?
Yeah, so you mentioned that there was like, in the bylaws, you can't hold another position, but like, you're changing it so they could hold another position now, but they don't get paid, so
Yeah.
isn't that not like separation of powers here?
Well, I mean, the legislation reads that right now, under the bylaws, you can't hold another position, but the Senate is not doing that. So this would change the rules so that the senators can hold another position, and it outlines the specific positions they can't hold in order to prevent any breach of the separation of powers. Like, you can't hold an executive cabinet or the SAG.
I think I would like to re-explain what Kusum said. I think I understood what she said. Last quarter, we had the freshman senator, Alan Calderon, who held a freshman senator seat and at the same time a commissioner seat in the office of the president. And according to this line in the bylaw, basically, he's not allowed to do so, but he was allowed to do so last quarter, so.
So why was?
So yeah, so this is why this bylaw amendment is proposed, basically.
To clarify, Senator Guterman's statement, so Alan was paid as a commissioner only, not as a senator.
He's actually paid for both.
He was paid as commissioner.
He's paid for both.
No.
No, only for commissioner.
Yeah.
I was his only last year.
Oh, okay, I was like, that's what he took from, yeah, okay.
So why is it better to change the rules to fit our practice compared to changing our practice to fit the rules? Why is it better so that we change the bylaw, but then why is changing the bylaw better than actually prohibiting senators taking taking two jobs?
Because, in my opinion, there are certain positions that senators can hold without violating any separation of powers or checks and balances. Like, a senator could hold the position of senator and Senate secretary without any breach.
Wow.
Okay, so I think the reason why they don't want people to hold like a paid office is because those paid offices usually require a lot of time. And if you hold those two offices at once, you can't effectively do both of them to the best of your ability, whereas someone else who, exception is Rodrigo here, but if someone else were to hold that position instead of like one person holding both, then they could like achieve more. So I think that's why they wanted that in the first place.
My concern is that right now, the Senate, like, the purpose of this legislation is simply to put into law the current practices of the Senate. And also just in general, as far as positions that take too much time, that are more of a that like a senator might not be able to do while doing Senate, like, I do believe that I listed a lot of those out as exceptions.
We're basically supporting unpaid labor through this legislation, and I think like you either say they can't hold two positions or say that they can hold positions and get paid for both. Knowing that like ASUCI already pays such a low amount of money for all the positions, for commissioners, they get paid less than $4 per hour, and for senators, they get paid less than $8 per hour, and that's not okay. So like, either we say they can't hold two positions or say they can get money. This is just basically saying you can hold two positions, but you can't get the money. You get what I mean?
Yeah, again, the purpose of this legislation was to make our bylaws consistent with our practice, and if the Senate wants to amend that, they're more than welcome to.
Senator Quintas, I'm going to philosophically disagree with our vice president here. What we do is not labor. If it was labor, we would have a union, we would have guidelines, and we would get paid minimum wage. This is not labor. This is civic duty for which we are stipended. As to that, I understand the author's purpose to this. I would recommend an amendment be inserted into the last therefore that would explicitly state, hold another ASUCI paid office outside of the Senate branch, because I could construct an argument that says Saul is a senator and the Senate president, and he's holding two offices. So I would insert that explicit amendment. I would say the same thing for those who are chairs. You're holding two positions. I would insert that amendment, and then I would disagree. I don't think we do labor. I think we do civic duty.
But we are putting time.
Okay. Senator Goodman. Actually, Senator Archibald,
Senator Quintas just said everything I was going to say in the letter, so.
Okay. Senator Goodman.
So yeah, after thinking about it for a bit, I think Senator Chi has a point where he said that why don't we just follow this practice, you know? Because I could imagine that, let's say there is an exec who has like all their commissioners like senators. If they want to pass legislation in Senate, it would have more chance of passing because the commissioners are senators. It's like, I feel like there might be like a check, like I don't know how to say it, but it's a check and balances issue. Like I could foresee, but that's only my concern. Yeah.
Senator Yan.
I think we should recommit this to rules so that they can discuss it further in the meeting.
Both of you are gone. Is this a pro? I'm going to start doing a pro and con. Is this a con or a pro for the legislation? Your comment? Is it just
It's just a comment.
Just a comment? Comment?
This is a pro.
Okay. Well, I'm going to concur with Senator Yan. We should recommit this to rules and then bring this back up for debate later. We have a lot of things on the agenda.
I move to move the rules.
Second.
It's been moved. Hold up. It has been moved and seconded to commit to rules, and there is an objection. Would you like to state your objection?
So, I think this legislation is fairly simple. I don't think committing it to rules will really accomplish much. If changes need to be made, it can be done right here on the floor. Rules already passed this unanimously. I don't think any substantial changes will be made in rules if it's recommitted.
It has been moved and objected. Are there any further objections?
Objection.
There's been multiple objections. We're going to go to a roll call vote.
I can't.
Why not?
I don't have access. I can't do roll call votes.
One.
Because someone logged me out of the system.
Does anyone have access? Do you have access to it?
Yes.
Can you do the roll call vote, please?
Okay, since I don't know who's here, I'll call everyone.
You should call in regardless of whether.
I'll see if I can figure this out right now.
Showing that information,
Sure.
can you please clarify the voting?
So yes is to commit to rules, no is to not commit to rules and continue debate. Is everyone clear on how the vote is? Thank you.
Senator Cervantes,
No.
Senator Chua, Senator Lee,
No.
Senator Sadiq, Senator Abdul Sadiq,
Yes.
Senator Quintas abstains, Senator Nelson, Senator Damavandi,
Can you clarify the voting?
Oh my. Yes is to submit to rules, no is to not, and continue debate.
No.
Does anybody I have previously called wish to change their vote based on the clarification by the Senate President? Senator Yan,
Abstain.
Senator Lim,
No.
Senator Liu,
No.
Senator Ahmed, Senator Withrow,
No.
Senator Gooneman,
No.
Senator Saba,
No.
Senator Kuriakos,
Yes.
Senator Munoz, Senator Ma,
Yes.
Senator Artunian,
No.
Senator Archbold,
Yes.
Senator Sonhu,
Yes.
Senator Nakvi,
No.
Senator Krebs,
Yes.
Senator Gill,
Yes.
Senator Martinez, Senator Chi,
No.
Senator Fonseca,
No.
Oh my God.
the nays have it.
With that, no, it is continued, debate is continued, and with that, we have 18 seconds left on debate. If there are no objections, I'd like to extend time by 2 minutes. No second, no, are those objections? Remember, seconds are objections. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So, Manjuna?
So two things. If only all people who are supposed to be doing civic duty in this world were not getting paid as much, then we would actually be fine not having this argument. But I think like knowing, like saying that we're just doing civic duty and not, pay is not necessary is a privilege in and of itself, because a lot of students can't commit to this job just because they have to work over 30 hours or full-time jobs and maintain their academic status. So like not giving them this opportunity to serve their constituents is not okay. And then second thing, if we're talking about ethics in terms of execs having senators in, or their commissioners as senators in Senate, then in the first place, we shouldn't be allowing execs to slate with senators during elections.
First of all, if you're struggling for life, I don't want you to work in my government. Second of all, do not commit to rules the amendments you want to make on Senate floor. Thirdly, I'd like to move to make amendment to this legislation. Strike out the quotes within the last therefore let it be resolved clause and change to a regular senator shall not hold an ASUCI paid office in another ASUCI branch. Thank you.
It has been moved and seconded to amend. Can you submit that in writing, please? There's writing temple right next to the Senate Secretary, but it is to add after another ASUCI paid off, and said hold another ASUCI paid office in another branch?
Yes.
Just add another branch
Another
after,
branch, yes.
so after here, you guys can see, he would put in another branch.
Shall not be able to hold another ASUCI paid office in another.
That 2 minutes has expired.
I motion to extend time by 3 minutes.
It has been moved and seconded to extend time by 3 minutes. Because it's not in writing, so I was like.
Did you ask for objections on the extension?
Are there any objections to the amendment?
To the extension of time?
Oh, are there any objections to extending time? Seeing none. Is there any objections to the amendment?
Object.
Would you like to state your objection?
I believe that it definitely is okay for someone to hold two paid positions, because there's some people who are just interested in multiple things, and we shouldn't stop them from doing it. And actually, I think that that's the primary reason why we only allow one stipend, is to deter people. But we shouldn't say, you're not allowed to do this, but we should say, if you really want to do it, do it.
That,
What's the reasoning of not, if they fulfill their duties, why shouldn't they get the stipend like Vice President Eller said?
Point of order, this is a debate after a motion has been moved, seconded, and objected.
you are right.
What's going on?
You are correct.
We need to
Lost myself for a second.
So-
We'll move on.
Okay.
No, it was my mistake. But we are in a, and it's been moved and ejected. Are there any other objections to the amendment? Is that an objection?
Yeah.
So we have multiple objections. We will have to go to another roll call vote.
Can you say the roll call?
The roll call, yes, is to amend, add the amendment to not allow, shall not be able, they won't be able to have, he added the language, shall not be able to hold office in another branch. I'm not sure verbatim because
Can
I
I
don't have.
explain my objection?
Sure.
If we make that change, then firstly, the second line of the therefore let it be resolved amendment is redundant. And secondly, I do agree with Senator Sama.
It's a stated objection. We will go into a roll call vote. Yes is to accept the amendment, no is to not accept the amendment. Is that clear? The amendment being adding another branch. You shall not be able to hold office in another branch. Can I help finish, please? A senator shall not hold another ASUCI paid office in another branch of ASUCI during their term on the Senate. That is the amendment. Yes is to add this amendment, no is to not add this amendment. Roll call, please.
Senator Cervantes.
No.
Senator Chuang. Senator Lee.
No.
Senator Sadiq. Senator Abdul Sadiq.
No.
Senator Quintas abstains. Senator Nelson. Senator Damavandi. Senator Yan.
No.
Senator Lim.
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
Senator Liu.
No.
Senator Ahmed.
No.
Senator Withrow.
No.
Senator Gudeman.
No.
Senator Saba.
No.
Senator Kuriakos.
No.
Senator Munoz.
No.
Senator Math.
No.
Senator Artunian. Senator Archbold.
No.
Senator Sanhu.
No.
Senator Nakvi.
No.
Senator Krebs.
No.
Senator Gill.
No.
Senator Martinez. Senator Chi.
Yes.
Senator Fonseca.
No.
With that, the nays have it.
Okay, so now time has been extended. There's been an amendment. And time is out. So y'all, is there any motions on the floor? Because time has expired. Yes.
I motion to table this legislation to,
Good.
until, since we have Vice President Alert here, I want to table it until, you know what, I'll table it until like,
You can just put it on the table and it'll stay there for 48 hours.
sure, I'll table this legislation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any objections to tabling the legislation? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Lopez, Pulido, Lee, Richmond, Withrow, R5464 in support of UCI Dream Center expanding legal aid. I have to give up my chairship.
don't have to move.
Here.
You can move the gavel.
I do know. Since there's only a reading, if there's an objection, I'll open the floor for discussion.
Yes,
Wait,
so-
is that an objection?
No.
Floor is open for discussion.
So in committee, we amended the legislation to, the first whereas, after undocumented students, we added up the UC system. The first, therefore, be resolved, we, delete the student government and added Irvine after California. And, the last, let it further resolve, after, UCI Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, comma, we added Assistant Vice Chancellor of Student Life and Leadership and Dean of Students. And we also added, Annie Lay and, Dashay Richmond as seconds. Oh, and the vote count was 7-0 in committee.
Is there any concerns, comments, discussion? If not, then is there any motion? Michael?
Motion to call this legislation to question by acclamation.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Is there an objection? No? Those who vote yes, please raise your hands. Those who vote no? Any abstentions? No? This legislation passes. Moving on to the next item of the agenda. New business. R5472 in support of safe parking program at UC Irvine. With that, I'll pass it back to Sub. Fine, I'll keep it.
Would the author please give a reading?
In support of the safe parking program at UC Irvine. Whereas college campuses all over the United States face the issue of basic needs insecurity, and whereas housing is the biggest expense for UC students living on and off campus, and whereas results from a study conducted by the California State University CSU system in 2018 reports that 10.9% of CSU students reported experiencing homelessness one or more times in the last 12 months, based on the combined housing and urban development and the U.S. Department of Education definitions. And whereas a fall 2016 study by the Los Angeles Community College District found that 19% of students indicated experiencing homelessness within a year of the time the questionnaire was administered. And whereas a 2017 survey that included 33,000 students across 70 community colleges in 24 states found that 50% had experienced housing insecurity and 14% experienced homelessness at some point. And whereas 5% of both UC undergraduate and graduate student populations said that they experienced homelessness at some point during their enrollment, as reported in the 2016 University of California Undergraduate Experience Survey and Graduate Student Wellbeing Survey. And whereas the definition of homelessness in the UC question provided responses ranging from couch surfing at a friend's place to living on the streets. And whereas a new bill in the California State Legislature titled AB 302 would require community colleges to allow homeless students who are living in vehicles to park overnight in campus parking facilities. And whereas the bill also states that students must be in good academic standing and enrolled in classes. And whereas in 2004, New Beginnings, a nonprofit in Santa Barbara, California, began its operations in the Safe Parking Program, which provides individuals with confidential, daily monitored parking spaces for those who are living in their vehicles due to insufficient income to provide their basic need of affordable housing. And whereas housing security is an issue that must be dealt with through proper solutions, and therefore let it be resolved that the Associated Students of UC Irvine is in support of tasking UCI housing, student housing, UCI transportation and distribution services, and the Fresh Basic Needs Hub in looking into potential concepts that can be utilized here at the University of California, Irvine. And therefore, let it be resolved that the Senate of the Associated Students of UC Irvine recommends to the aforementioned campus departments to look more into this and have a representative from any of the aforementioned campus departments to deliver a report as early as spring quarter 2019 and therefore let it be resolved that the President of the Senate of the Associated Students of UC Irvine, as of this resolution's passing, sends a printed and a digital copy of this resolution to the aforementioned campus departments and sends a follow-up reminder during spring of 2019 week 5 requesting the reports.
Okay, that discussion is now open. Are there any questions for the authors? Sarah Goodman?
I think this legislation is a really good one, but I do have a question on, I think on the seventh whereas, it says, whereas the definition of homelessness in the UC question. What is the UC question?
I believe it is questionnaire.
In
Okay.
the UQ's question.
Yeah, UQ's question.
UCUES.
Yeah. And the sixth whereas, the University of California undergraduate experience survey. So, yeah.
I would recommend an amendment to the agenda. I mean to the legislation.
Is that grammatical or just spelling?
No, it's like an actual.
Okay. It's already been submitted on, the chair asked me to already submit it for his agenda or advocacy, just for an information item for all of you. Is there any more questions? Devin?
Yeah, for the second to last resolve, when you asked the campus department to look more into this and deliver a report, do you know like specifically what you wanted from them?
As of right now, we're just looking for whether this is possible or not to have something at UCI. And if it is possible, what are the ways to make it possible?
I'm just falling down.
Is there a hand over here?
I have a question. How did you ensure that the students who are parking in the lots are actual enrolled students? Like, how do you prove that?
They could check the ID.
So let's say, I'm just like concerned with the safety issue of like students who are actually parking versus actual people who might not be enrolled in campus actually parking there and taking advantage of the opportunity. So I just wanted to know if there was like a actual like legitimate way of showing that they are students without needing ID and they aren't, because you can have an ID and not be enrolled in classes at the same time. So it's kind of like an issue there. So I'm just wondering if there was something that maybe we can implement into this, or that you might know that we can ensure that students who are actually staying in the parking lots overnight are actual students.
Yeah, so from my understanding, the New Beginnings program in Santa Barbara, so they, you must like register into this program in order to utilize the parking lots. So maybe here, they could do something similar to that.
Chandra?
I think to add on to that, it's also, where like, when the departments are researching, it's something that they could work with OIT to see how we could add on their services. We could use their card readers, which will tell like the current status of enrollment, when you swipe it, and as for the safety, we're hoping for it to be staffed 24 hours. That's how the Santa Barbara program currently runs. So it would be staffed, which includes an aspect of obviously paying them, and where that money is coming from, which is why we didn't have a solution for it to be under ASUCI, because the ASUCI is very temporary in terms of it changes every year based on elections. So it has to be something that the university takes action, because we already have like an overnight parking lot near the ARC, but it's just a matter of staffing and how that's run in terms of logistics.
So would this be like only one parking area that they would be able to use, or like it would be anywhere?
It would depend on what the university is going to do about it. Obviously, I feel like to start off with one is nicer to see if our campus even needs it, and like if we do need it, what are the pros and cons, and like how that works out. And in future, if we do have the opportunity and the money, we could have more parking lots.
Is that a follow-up question?
So What about during the day when they go to classes? Won't they need like regular parking permits? So like, to my understanding, certain parking permits let you park there overnight anyways.
They let you park there overnight, but there's no safety component when they sleep in the cars. And plus, yeah.
I don't know if this has been discussed or not, but why was UCIPD not included in the initial list of organizations and departments this would go out to?
We just listed the main core departments that would look into this, and who they consult during the process is up to them, because we didn't want to limit who would be working on this. And this was more so for us to encourage the campus to start off like the initial research process, so that going further, it could be more, centralized.
Is there any more questions?
Just one more question. How can we follow up with this whole legislation to see if it passes through at the school?
So that's why we added therefore let it be further resolved clause, the last one, where it says, we would like to see a report by week 5 in spring quarter. If not, then it's the Senate's duty to see how they want to follow up, based on whatever the goal of the Senate is. And obviously, this is only a recommendation, it's not necessarily doing anything more than that.
Any more comments? We have 1 minute left, and it's already committed to advocacy.
Since there seems to be no more questions and comments, and since it's already committed to advocacy, I'll just motion to end discussion.
Okay, so I did motion to, and seconded to end discussion. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item of the agenda. Jan Allure, RTD 477, in support of the goals and requests of the Basic Needs Coalition. Please give a reading.
So I'm going to be passing out a copy of the policy recommendations that we created for this legislation. There's also a digital copy at the end of the legislation, under the UC Irvine Basic Needs Policy Goals. So in support of the goals and requests of the Basic Needs Coalition. Whereas new studies show that there is a high prevalence of basic needs insecurity, such as food, housing insecurity, etc., on the University of California Irvine campus, and whereas expenses today other than tuition account for more than 60% of the total cost of attending a college or university, and whereas the cost of living for students over the past 4 decades has increased by over 80%, and whereas the 2015 UC Food Security and Access Study found that 19% of UC student respondents had very low food security, which the U.S. Department of Agriculture defines as food sources, and whereas the 2015 UC Food Security and Access Study reports an additional 23% of survey respondents were considered to have low food security, defined as reports of reduced quality, variety, or desirability of diets with little or no indication of reduced food intake. And whereas the 2017 University of California Undergraduate Experience Survey and Graduate Student Wellbeing Survey found that 5% of UC undergraduates reported that they experienced homelessness within the past 12 months, and whereas basic needs security threatens the ability of higher education to serve as an engine of social mobility and economic development at a time when the budgets of many colleges and universities are already fragile, and when institutions are being scrutinized about costs and access, and whereas many students are leaving college because of lack of access to housing and food despite being in good academic standing, and whereas moving forward, school officials must work with students to determine how to alleviate the issues of basic needs and security, and whereas as a partial solution, the University of California President Jeanette Napolitano, together with UC's 10 chancellors, launched the UC Global Food Initiative in July of 2014, and whereas some of the UC's partial efforts to address food security include the awarding of $4 million, $377,000 per UC campus, to fund efforts in research, student support services, educational programming, and engagement, establishing an institutional working group on each campus to coordinate campus-specific food security and system-wide collaboration, the creation or expansion of food pantry and distribution services on each campus available to all students with need, establishing or expanding undergraduate campus dining meals donations through the Swipe Out Hunger program, and whereas the UC is partially addressing issues of housing security through the implementation of a system-wide housing initiative to add 14,000 new affordable beds by fall of 2020, the provision of a one-time $27 million allocation to address housing needs for students, staff, and faculty by the Board of Regents in July of 2017. And whereas at UC Irvine, issues of basic needs insecurity are partially addressed through the passing of the Food Pantry Initiative referendum in 2016, providing $3 adjusted to CPI per undergraduate student for the next 10 years to support campus basic needs services. Opening the UC Irvine Fresh Basic Needs Hub in fall of 2017, the hub provides a 2,630 square foot space where advising, food preparation, community meetings, teaching, CalFresh, and food pantry services are centralized. Increasing pantry clients served by 300% in one academic year through outreach efforts with 9,954 visits, partnered with Second Harvest Food Bank, receiving 5,000 pounds of free food weekly. Launching the Emergency Meal Swipe program to provide meal swipes to students in need, facilitated by the ASUCI Food Security Commission. Launching the Basic Needs Emergency Grants in partnership with campus social workers and the Office of Financial Aid. And whereas 44% of UC Irvine students continue to lack consistent access to nutritious food, and nearly 19% of those students are forced to skip meals and go hungry, while 25% eat regularly but get by on cheap such non-nutritious food like instant ramen or fast food. And therefore, let it be resolved that the Associated Students of UC Irvine supports and endorses the goals and requests of the Basic Needs Coalition. And therefore, let it be resolved that the goals and requests of the Basic Needs Coalition in summary are: short-term goals include immediately increasing the opportunities for students and dining staff to help collect meal swipes or receive swipe donations for UCI's Emergency Meal Swipe program, increasing the meal swipe cap for Slot Out Hunger program to 15,000 or more because demand is greater, immediately approve requests to begin a food recovery program and or an on-campus food kitchen in conjunction with the Fresh Basic Needs Hub under UC Irvine's Environmental Health and Safety Department campus restricted regulations. Immediately establish or link to a central online portal for food insecure, housing insecure, and homeless students to connect to on and off-campus resources on all UC Irvine websites. Basic student legal services should be made available and publicized to all UCI students as soon as possible, particularly tenant and landlord disputes. Mandate mixed-use development in all future UCI and UCI affiliated housing projects, combining residential and retail/commercial land uses to increase walkability and the quality of life for residents. Negotiate with off-campus entities to improve the treatment of prospective student leasers and student renters. Eliminate the development of one-bedroom/single occupancy apartments in future student housing projects. Support Senate Bill 50, a critical piece of legislation designed to address California's worsening housing crisis and increase affordability. Receive sufficient funding to sustain the emergency crisis response grant for another 5 years, including offering the grant to as many students as possible. Support Senate Bill 24 to provide female identifying or female aligned students at UCI access to abortions, which UCI currently does not provide at on-campus health centers. For long-term goals, includes offer the Fresh Basic Needs Hub a centralized location within the campus, or provide the Fresh Hub with additional funding for pop-up off-site distribution options. UCI community and government relations should advocate at the local, state, and federal level for less stringent CalFresh qualifications for college students such as lowering work hour requirements, looking at students' actual budget sheets as opposed to financial aid award, and etc. UCI Community and Government Relations should advocate for less extensive and more accessible CalFresh application process at the local, state, and federal levels to ensure students move forward with the entire process and receive the nutritional assistance they need, establish a permanent facility or network of emergency beds for homeless students on campus or in close proximity to campus. UCI Housing should immediately work towards implementing a policy that allows all students who live in on-campus housing the option to stay in their housing over breaks and campus closures during the academic school year. Increase the percentage of on-campus student housing in UCI's long-range development plan (LRDP) to 75%. Lobby the city of Irvine to pass a resolution streamlining future student housing development on land adjacent to the UCI campus, and therefore let it be resolved that a copy of the attached document titled Basic Needs Policy Goals be sent and presented to UC Irvine administrative officials during the annual Long Range Development Plan (LRDP) meeting on March 18th, 2019, and therefore let it further be resolved. Variations of these goals and policies be adjusted to suit the audience when presented to local and state officials, and therefore let it further be resolved that incoming and future sessions of the ASUCI Senate are encouraged to support and continue working towards solutions on the issues of basic needs security.
Debate is now open. Are there any questions? Senator Gunnerman and
Yeah, I think overall I'm in support of this resolution, so it's really good. But I have a concern on the, I think, eighth bullet point of the short-term goal, which states to eliminate the development of one-bedroom single-occupancy apartments and future student housing projects. While I believe that this will help, this will allow certain more apartments to be able to contain more students. I feel like there are some students that needs privacy and they need one-bedroom apartment too. So yeah, that's my concern.
that time has expired. If there are no objections, I'm just gonna extend time by 3 minutes. Seeing none. Time to extend by 3 minutes. Go ahead, Senator. Go ahead.
I think this is really good piece of legislation, but one part in the long-term goal where it says UCI housing should immediately work towards implementing policies that allow all students living in on-campus housing the option to stay in their house during a break and the campus closure during the academic school year. I don't know for the Mesa Ford and Middle Earth, but for Camino and also VDCs, they do allow you to stay there for the spring break and also the summer break. But the problem is the problem is if you want to live there, you have to pay for the parking fee. I think that should be resolved as well in this legislation.
I think that's also a bigger problem. Even when we talked to Mesa Court this year, Mesa Court and Middle Earth, they actually had, I think, one hall that students were allowed to stay over during break. But they had to pay this extra double fee, which would equate the amount of how much it would cost to go back home and then come. Especially for international students like me, it costs like $3,000 to go back to India and come back. So this is something that's only the short bullet point. There's more notes on the actual big estimate with more detail.
Is that possible to add the parking to log it as well?
Yeah, that would be more of a transportation thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any more questions, comments, Senator Quintas?
To the authors, why the need for the second resolve?
The second resolve stating all the short-term and long-term goals.
Sorry. The fourth resolve.
So that's basically for us. So AGS is also going to be presenting this, and some of the goals don't align with what they need, and some of them align with what undergrad needs. So it's kind of just presenting the goals that each different audience supports. And especially when we go to, local and state officials to kind of give them this piece of document, we don't wanna tell them about campus-specific issues, because they don't have a say in a lot of campus-specific issues. We only wanna tell them more about, like, for example, CalFresh, and kind of talking about how these, qualifications for students to receive CalFresh could be less stringent, and like how they could improve their services.
Is there any more questions, concerns? This again has been committed to advocacy upon recommendation of the chair. For everyone's information again. Yeah?
I don't know if that's possible, like, we can add the parking fees already part into the campus housing part integrated to this legislation. Just like, if we can integrate that part inside as well, then I think that addressed my concern that,
Do you want it directly on the legislation or the document?
it's just on this legislation and document as well.
Do you want a motion and amendment?
Yeah, I guess, motion to amend this legislation.
Point of order, your time has expired.
No, that wasn't the time, it was, that's why I was moving it around.
Okay, sorry.
I didn't get it in time.
Withdraw
Sorry.
my motion.
Yeah, you have like a minute left.
A motion to, amend this legislation by adding, another short info under it saying, UCI housing should immediately work, with the, UCI transportation department and offer, and, put them to offer free parking during the summer break and.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Can you please write that down and give it to the secretary so I can read it out loud? So make it clear what you're adding to the legislation, because I don't want any confusion on what everyone's voting for. I'm gonna follow the time while I write that down.
I object to the motion, and while he's writing it down, I'll say why. This list of short-term and long-term goals was created by what I imagine is a campus ad hoc committee. By adding to these goals, I think we're infringing on the process they did. This is their work product, these are their goals, this is the discussions they carried out, the research they carried out. We are taking these goals and using it on our legislation. I don't think it's appropriate for us to just add goals to their list and keep using their name. I think if the amendment is going to be made, it can be a separate whereas or resolved, but I really do think it's inappropriate to add to the work product of the Basic Needs Coalition without them being here, without them agreeing to it, and without the larger campus discussion that took place to come up with these goals.
Are there any other objections? If not, you want to read it? Just say there's no other objection. I'm just waiting for the amendment, so I can read it out loud. No, the agenda's already. I don't know. Long meeting, right? Oh, long.
Not even halfway through.
Alright, so here's the amendment, and it's been seconded and objected. Since there are no other objections, would you like to specify the voting? Or you would like the amendment voted on?
Voting on this one?
Yes, your amendment.
So, I just specify yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna make sure. Okay, so the amendment is adding another bullet point saying UCI Housing should work with UCI Transportation Department to push over free parking option for the students who live on campus during winter break and spring break. It's been moved and seconded, so it's been objected once.
Can I object again?
Another objection?
May I give an objection?
No, there's been multiple objections. We're just gonna go into a roll call vote. Yes is to accept it, no is to not accept the amendment. Please. For the sake of time.
I don't know.
Can I do point of information?
Sure.
By UCI housing, is it like on campus using just the dorms or like ACC properties too?
ACC property is definitely UCI housing as well. It's like they are offered by UCI to other.
Should you like clarify maybe, because
They are all housing, all campus housing.
Okay, hold on. You can't use a point of information and continue to make another comment. That's not the way it works. It's not, you don't phrase it in a question so that you can get more information. Is there confusion over there? Excuse me, hold up. I saw some confusion over there.
Point of information.
Sure.
Can you reiterate,
Okay, so voting yes is to accept the amendment of UCI Housing should work with UCI Transportation Department to push them to offer free parking option for the students who live on campus during winter break and spring break. And voting no is to not add the amendment to the legislation. Is that clear? Yes, is the amendment, that's how it's written, I'm just reading the paper.
Clear.
Okay. Whatever, don't look at me that way. Roll call vote, please.
Senator Fonseca,
No.
Senator Chi,
No.
Senator Martinez, Senator Gill,
Yes.
Senator Krabs,
No.
Senator Nakvi,
No.
Senator Sonhu,
No.
Senator Archbold,
yes.
Senator Artunian,
No.
Senator Math,
Pass.
Senator Munoz,
Yes.
Senator Kuriakos, Senator Saba,
No.
Senator Gooneman,
No.
Senator Withrow,
Yes.
Senator Ahmed,
No.
Senator Liu,
No.
Senator Lim,
Pass.
Senator Yan,
Abstain.
Senator Damavandi,
No.
Senator Nelson, Senator Quintas votes no. Senator Abdul Sadiq,
No.
I'm sorry I mispronounced your name.
It's okay.
Senator Sadiq, Senator Lee,
Yes.
Senator Chua, Senator Cervantes,
No.
No.
Senator, Senator Matt,
No.
Senator Lim,
Yes.
Senator Lim?
Yes. Yeah.
okay.
I know it's been a long meeting, but let's keep the decorum just a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer.
Can do this, people.
We have 18 more minutes.
And what, 10 more items?
With
We
that,
can
the
extend
nays
time
have,
past 7, but the room
with that, the nays have it. The amendment does not pass.
Okay, so that what time has expired, so it's already committed to advocacy. Justin, if you'd like to still amend, I strongly encourage that you talk to Randy and advocacy committee if you would like to word it better. That, we will move on to the next item of the agenda. Lopez Pulido, election of spring quarter Senate president. We have 20 minutes.
Can you do this next meeting? Yeah, one.
I think they have enough time.
I think we have enough time.
No, 17 minutes not enough.
Okay, well then, if there are no objections, I'm gonna table all of my items and move on to Liam's. Withrow, Lopez, Toledo, Richmond, Getterman. Are there any objections for me tabling all the items?
Point of information, so you're tabling 9.5, Nine point four,
9.4, 5, 6, 7. Those are all my items.
Actually, it might be in the bylaws that we have to do it today, so,
Oh, yes, it is.
can I just check?
Yeah, no, well, it's week 9, but it just says 2 weeks prior. I do know it just says 2 weeks prior, so it could be Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah. It does say 2 weeks prior.
2 weeks prior is 14 days.
Does spring break count?
No.
Oh.
Well,
No,
the
it
spring
doesn't
feels
count.
now.
It doesn't, but it's spring, it has to be Thursday, because the last day of instruction is Thursday, the final is Thursday. No, some people have it on Friday. That's technicality, we can do it next time. Yeah. There are no objections. Moving on to Withrow, Lopez, Pulido, Richmond, Gunnaman. Purchase of a new CCTV for the Disability Service Center. Would the author please give a reading?
Yes, one moment, let me just, Whereas in February of 2019, Senator Withrow, Senator Lopez Pulido, and President Lang met with the director of the UCI Disability Services Center to discuss ways in which ASUCI may be able to assist in regards to issues related to overcrowding and underfunding. Whereas the testing services that the Disability Services Center provides is a critical resource for students with disabilities requiring accommodations during test taking, whereas the Disability Services Director mentioned that growth in enrollment, coupled with a decline in funding and resources that the administration has provided the center, has led to concerns about being able to meet the demand for these critical services, particularly during midterms and finals. Whereas the center has had to borrow equipment from the UCI libraries and has had to arrange to use rooms in other buildings on campus. Whereas one of the most critical pieces of equipment which the Disability Services Center utilizes are closed-circuit television, desktop video magnifiers, CCTVs, which allow students with visual impairments to take tests and read materials by adjusting the focus, zoom, and contrast of the materials which are displayed on a desktop monitor. Whereas recent increases in enrollment have led to the center not having enough CCTVs during testing sessions and have forced them to borrow from the libraries. Whereas the center also does not have a mobile CCTV, which could be transported to the classroom proper to students who need the equipment and so request it. Whereas on the 13th of February, the Assistive Technology Manager of the Disability Services Center sent quotes for 3 applicable options to help alleviate these aforementioned concerns. Whereas Senator Withrow, Senator Lopez Pulido, and President Lay have considered the 3 options presented and decided on option 1, the Acuity 22-inch speech CCTV. Whereas Senator Withrow, Senator Lopez Pulido, President Lay, and Vice President Richmond have agreed to fund the purchase of the CCTV as a joint effort from the Senate, the Office of the President, and the Office of the External Vice President. Whereas the breakdown of the cost of the purchase is as follows. Unit price, $3,695. Shipping fee, $70. E-waste fee, $6. Sales tax, $286.36. Grand total, $4,057.36. Therefore, let it be resolved that the following amounts be pulled from the following accounts, with any leftover amounts being reallocated back to these accounts in even divisions for the purchase of 1 Acuity 22-inch speech CCTV. Senate unallocated 7805-6501, $1,557.36. Office of the External Vice President, program costs 7100-6423, $1,900. Office of the President, contingency 7000-6420, $600. Grand total $4,057.36.
Debate is now open. Are there any questions? Senator Pita?
Considering that enrollment has increased, does the Disability Services Center have a projection of whether or not they'll need more cameras based on how enrollment has increased?
So I believe they mentioned that they would need, they would like to have 2, but based on the cost, I believe that we can only purchase 1 for them this year. But I will be meeting, I have emailed them along with President Lay to schedule a follow-up meeting. And so if the Senate wishes to have those figures, I can ask at the follow-up meeting. I haven't heard back from them yet because it's only been about a week. But that is something that I could get at the follow-up meeting.
I do remember, I mean, if I can comment really quickly. I do remember them saying that the reason why they would actually appreciate this is because as enrollment has gone up, their services have been required more and more. And they actually were lending out their CCTV to the library and to another facility. I think it was, I don't remember the other facility, but I do know there was one. They were holding one in the library. And near finals time and midterms, they require these so that students are able to study. And they're sometimes not able to move them back to disability centers in time, or for whatever reason, they're hard to move, so they only have one, and they have a large queue for people who need it.
How would you decide how much each office is costing?
So that was decided proportionally based on how much each office had in either contingency or program cost accounts that could be allocated to it. So essentially, I tried to do it proportionally based on how much each office could contribute.
Simon's already committed to finance.
So a CCTV is because I searched it up and I couldn't see.
So basically, it's a device where it would go on a flat table here. You could put like a textbook or any testing materials under it, and then it would magnify it on a desktop screen right about here. And then you would have multiple settings which you could use to adjust the zoom, focus, and contrast. And so it helps students who have like visual impairments. So if you are unable to see the testing material because like it's small print, for example, or maybe you have some sort of like colorblind deficiency, it would allow you to basically be able to see those materials while you're taking the test. Or also, sometimes it's also used for studying, but the main time when demand is high is during testing because most professors do midterms and finals around the same time, and so that's when you have a high demand.
Two questions. The first being, if approved, will this be available in time for winter final?
So I actually want to arrange a meeting with Stephanie to see what the timeline of such a purchase could be. I'm actually going to email today, because I just received the forwarded email about needing to like arrange for for the purchase. So as far as the timeline, I don't have that unfortunately right now.
And then my second question, and I don't know if this, I imagine it was discussed in the meeting, was, is this, if this is a accommodation for students with disabilities, is this a service they provide that is not state mandated? Or is this something that is mandated? And if so, if it is mandated, why is it that through whether timelines for purchasing or inability of funds, the university was unable to purchase these?
So I believe it is required accommodation under, I believe it's probably the Americans with Disabilities Act. As far as why it hasn't been provided is they already do have a small number of CCTVs. And unfortunately what's happened is their funding has actually kind of gone down. And one source of actually why their funding has gone down is because Disability Services Center is currently housed in a set of portables. And so, like during the rainy season this year, they had a mold outbreak, and so they had to use funding that was allocated for other purposes to kind of cover it, and the administration didn't reimburse them for these costs.
Any more comments, questions, concerns? 2 minutes left on the item.
There doesn't seem to be any more comments or discussions. I'm motion to add discussion. I'm sorry to commit to finance.
It's already committed to finance. Is there a second to the
Second.
motion? It's been moved and seconded. Are there any objections to any discussion? Seeing none, is there any discussion? We'll move on to the next item on the agenda. So you'll most likely just get to read this. Archbold Blue Limb Withrow, R5471, student body in support of a ban on non-neonicotinoid pesticides. I'm not gonna
very literate.
Thank you. I would right now, but
Whereas evidence for bee declines has caused a great concern because of the valuable ecosystem services they provide. Whereas neonicotinoid insecticides have been implicated in these declines because they occur at trace levels in the nectar and pollen of crop plants. Whereas in a study done by Science Magazine, treated colonies had a significantly reduced growth rate and an 85% reduced production of new bees in comparison to control colonies. Whereas neonicotinoids may have a considerable impact on wild bumblebee populations across the developed world. Whereas the UCI Integrated Pest Management Plan promotes the use of the least toxic chemical pesticides to promote or to protect the safety of the campus community and the environment. Whereas the UCI IPM states that products will be evaluated against a comprehensive list of hazard criteria, including carcinogenicity, reproductive toxicity, endocrine disruption, acute toxicity, hazard to birds, fish, bees, wildlife. Therefore, let it be resolved, the Associated Students of the University of California, Irvine urges the University of California, Irvine to completely stop the use of neonicotinoid pesticides. Therefore, let it further be resolved that a copy of this legislation will be delivered to the Chancellor's office.
is there any comment? Discussion is not open. Member Bondi,
Motion to commit to advocacy.
It's already committed.
it's already committed to advocacy.
And discussion.
There's a motion to end discussion.
What the fuck are you doing?
That was out of order. Senator, please refrain from being disrespectful to other people's motions. I know sometimes it is frustrating, but sometimes completely understand. Are there any, discussion is still open, by the way. Is there any more comments, questions? If, sir.
I would like to make a suggestion that this legislation also be sent to whichever, my community college, the facilities director, not our school president, really ran the campus facilities. So, I understand the importance of sending this to the chancellor's office. I would recommend we send this to the facilities director and the specific individuals who are involved in this process, because it's been my experience that they have a lot more buy-in in this decision than the actual chancellor.
I know how that works.
Senator.
Yeah, the specific department question is the facilities management position. You're welcome.
Just additional information. Neonicotinoid is actually being banned in the European Union. And it is likely that the American government is corrupted with lobbyists, so that they're not doing anything about it.
I don't know what to say to that. All I know is out of order. We'll move on. Yeah.
Did the author of the legislation ever talk to the facilities manager about why they use this pesticide?
Sean?
Yes, I have been emailing facilities management in an attempt to get in contact with them for discussions about this pesticide. I am continuing to get more and more contacts to email to try to facilitate a discussion on this.
Would y'all like to extend the time of adjournment for like 10 minutes so that everyone can at least get their readings in?
3 minutes.
Let's say 5 minutes, just so everyone can get their reading in and we can put it in new old business for next time. Are y'all okay with extending time to 7:05?
I thought we couldn't do that.
We can. That takes a motion. For the body. All right. We're gonna elongate it to 7:05. Okay. So, discussion is still open.
I would like to make a recommendation to the author and, you see, the author and the committee, like, work together with advocacy on this, basically, yeah, that was my recommendation. Because because this is already gonna come in to advocacy, so, yeah.
I have another recommendation. So the person above the facility management department is Associate Vice Chancellor of Environmental and Facility Services, Carl Wolowski. Yeah. And yeah, just letting you know, yeah, it's on the UCI organizational chart, in case you want that information. Yeah.
Great. We have 3 minutes left on discussion. Is there any more? Senator Donlevant?
Motion to end discussion.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any objection to ending discussion? Seeing and hearing none, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, Martinez, Chanda, Mavandi, snacks and drinks for motivation. Since Martinez has stepped out, the next one, Yan, would you give a reading, please?
I would like to allow Brian Mavandi to do the reading.
Okay.
So whereas ASUCI Senators Brian Mavandi, Andrea Martinez, Randy Yang are your student leaders for the 2018-2019 academic school year, and whereas some of our goals is to promote students' well-being and academic engagement, and whereas we intend to provide students with nutritious supplements to promote these goals, and whereas finals week is notorious for causing endless all-nighters and unhealthy habits, and whereas by providing students with complimentary beverages and snacks with the hopes of fostering positive academic engagement and alleviate some levels of stress, and whereas this would be a great opportunity for us as the biological science senators and freshman senator to network with constituents, and therefore let it be resolved that the ASUCI Senate assists in the purchasing of the following items using approximately $200.28 from the ASUCI Council unallocated funds 7805-6501. Nature Valley Crunchy Granola Bars, $14.99. Prince and Spring Mountain Trail Mix, $27.98. Dole Dice Peaches and Mixed Fruit Cups, $29.97. Tropicana Fruit Juice Variety Pack, $28.88. Starbucks Frappuccino Coffee Drink, $42.48. Starbucks Double Shot Espresso and Cream Light, $33.98. Scantrons for $5. Green Books, $17. Therefore, let it further be resolved that this event will be hosted during Thursday of Winter Quarter Week 10, March 14th, from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. in front of the Science Library Hall.
Okay, discussion is now open. We have 4 minutes left. Senator Quintas?
Multiple questions. First one being, could you go to the first whereas, please? So before I get to the first whereas, shouldn't this be a bill and not a resolution?
I was just gonna say that,
Yeah, so that's probably just a numbering error, so we can just fix it in the system.
Okay. My second question, and I'm gonna move past the fact that there's only 3 student leaders in all of the Senate, is the fact that, if this Senate is gonna make a dedicated effort to do this during, finals week and the 10th week, can there please be an effort to do all of this with one legislation? Because I can only imagine that if we break into groups of 3, that's 10 different legislations, all of us having outreach events, all of us on different day, all of them being on separate legislations, all of them having to be discussed individually. That's exhausting and that's time consuming. So I would rather do this since she's not here, but Senator Sanhu's bill is already in the Finance Committee. Can we just amend that? How is it different? You are providing food, Scantrons, and green books for students on a different day.
Point of order, I mean, it's a prerogative of the senator whether they want to introduce the legislation or not, but it is also your prerogative to point out if you would like a preference or not, but your right does not also trump his right to introduce a new legislation. We will move on. Is there any other item?
Since this event is going to be hosted in front of the Science Library quad, have you gotten permission from anyone from the Science Library if this is allowed?
I believe it will be along Ring Road. that stretch of the road in front of the science library, so they will have to go through, student services, I believe. To make the booking. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Senator
Have
Nakul.
you not already made the booking, because you need to do it 2 weeks in advance, as far as I'm aware. If that is-
10 days. 10 days.
10 days. Oh.
10 days. Okay.
Just to add, if it's not within 10 days, you can still book the event, but you will incur a $25 late fee.
Senator Arkell.
In addition, it has come to my recent knowledge that for all boothing purposes, forms must be submitted in a specific order. And not only that, the first form you have to fill out must first be confirmed by Stephanie, and then once it is confirmed, you can fill out step 2, just so that no mistakes are made.
Senator Goodman.
Just to add, yes, you could book, is that time?
Yeah. He has a minute.
Okay, if you book within like 10 days before, yes, there will be a $25 fee, but at the same time, the space might already be booked by someone else. And yeah, but that's just a concern.
Someone has like 20 seconds. Good. Michael.
Why is it council account?
Is this the name?
What's the name of the,
Yeah. Is it?
yeah, the online. Can I repeat that?
No.
Oh, with that, we adjourn the meeting at 7.
Why didn't you just tell him? No, never mind. You don't get to know that. No.
Like,
No, I have to